Hi, this is Dr. Justin Marchegiani, and today's talk is going to be on the food that you should be eating every day in your life to be healthy. So again, one of the first, there are three types of macronutrients. There are proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. And the first one we're going to be going over are carbohydrates. So again, let's take a look at what carbohydrates are and the healthy ones that are on my list, if you will. And I'll give you a breakdown what I find are the best. So again, you're going to see carbohydrates in a couple different forms. Primarily in vegetable forms. Most people should be consuming their carbohydrates from vegetables because you're going to get higher nutrition and less sugar. Now, if you're more active, you may benefit through eating some healthier starches that are grain-free options, maybe some sweet potatoes, some yams, some starch, some taro, maybe even some yuca, some plantains. Again, it's really up to your individuality and what you can handle for carbohydrate. But again, the majority of anyone's diet should be coming from the non-starchy variety, like you see here in the asparagus and the kale and the Brussels sprouts and the carrots. These are much better. We also have our lower glycemic fruit as well, which tend to have higher amounts of nutrition and lower amounts of sugar too. These tend to be your best choices for the average person. Now again, I can't make a video here that's going to speak to everyone, but there's some just good general recommendations for health for everyone. Consuming foods that are lower in sugar and higher in micronutrients. Now, some may have higher amounts or needs of carbohydrate, but that's not really for them in this video here. So again, hormonally healthy proteins and fats. This is really important because all of your hormones are made from proteins and fats, i.e. cholesterol. Cholesterol primarily comes from animal products, so you're going to get your cholesterol from good quality eggs, from pork, from grass-fed meat. And we're trying to emphasize organic sources here. It goes without saying these are all going to be from organic, healthy sources. The more local, the better. Again, fats are vitally important. And when you're eating good quality meats that are grass-fed, you're going to be getting a good balance of omega-3 in relation to omega-6. Animals that are fed grains and such are going to have an imbalance of omega-6 to 3. They're going to be more pro-inflammatory. They're going to feed that arachidonic acid pathway and are going to be potentially contaminated with mycotoxins and other chemicals and pesticides from the nature of conventional farming. Really important. Cook with fats. Cooking with fats is vitally important. Ghee is excellent. If you're sensitive to butter, you can always do ghee because the casein protein in ghee is removed. Raw milk can be excellent if you're dairy tolerant. I always recommend people do a milk detox, no milk for 30 days, even raw milk, and then introduce it back in because some people can tolerate it, some can't. Almond butter, good quality nuts, avoiding peanuts here, just to give you a good idea of what types of hormonally healthy proteins and fats should be in your diet, and quality does matter. Again, hormone unhealthy foods. So essentially, any type of refined sugar or pro-inflammatory carbohydrate is going to throw your hormone off. When you start increasing insulin, you develop insulin resistance. That can literally, if you're a woman, start throwing your hormones over to testosterone. If you're a man, it can upregulate the aromatase enzyme and create higher amounts of estrogen. And women, it upregulates the 1720 lyase enzyme, which upregulates testosterone. That's why PCOS, or polycystic ovarian syndrome, is so connected with insulin resistance. So again, people always say, well, orange juice is great. Well, yeah, but the amount of sugar that you would get in that one glass of orange juice, you'd have to eat 8 to 10 oranges, and you get no fiber there to help control the blood sugar. So your blood sugar goes up and down like a roller coaster. A potato may not necessarily be bad, especially a sweet potato, because the glycemic index on a sweet potato is about a 40 versus a 70 or 80 on a regular potato. It really depends upon your carbohydrate needs. Most patients that I see are very carbohydrate or insulin resistant, and they can't handle too much. For some people, this may not be bad. For others, it's definitely not good. Again, Wonder Bread, all these refined glutens and grains are going to be an issue. Corn in an organic type of form here may not be bad, but again, most corn is genetically modified, and that can create significant inflammation in most people I see. Banana's not necessarily bad either. It really depends upon your carbohydrate tolerance. So I kind of throw in some of these things that challenge people that, a banana and a potato may not be good for you if you're insulin resistant. insulin sensitive, that's fine, but that's not most of the people that I see in private practice. And again, your Gatorades, is going to be a whole bunch of electrolytes with some added sugar and dyes. Just take out the electrolytes and you're good to go. You can do that with some good quality coconut water, or even better, you can just do a pinch of sea salt in your water and you're good to go. All the refined carbohydrates, the grains, we don't want to be consuming these for obvious reasons. Throwing your blood sugar off is one of them, and you don't get much nutrition or building blocks for health either. Next, hormone unhealthy foods. So again, we're going to have all of our meats. Again, these are going to be refined. That's the big difference between the previous meats. They are coming from refined artificial sources. We even have our soy up there, which is loaded with goitrogens and phytates and chymotrypsin inhibitors, so all kinds of different chemicals and toxins that are going to inhibit digestion and steal minerals and create inflammation. So again, it's the quality that matters. You want to make sure your animals aren't coming from these places. Right? If you're eating these animals, they're not going to be too healthy. You have to have a healthy animal to produce healthy food. It's just part of the equation. Healthy animals make healthy food. Unhealthy, diseased animals make unhealthy, diseased food. And for any vegans or vegetarians out there, it goes the same way for plants. If you're eating factory farmed, GMO, pesticide-ridden plants, well, it's the same thing. You're not going to get healthy plants either. So whatever life form you choose to take on, whether it's that of an animal or a plant, it has to come from healthy sources. So again, the thesis for the foods that I recommend are simple. The foods must be anti-inflammatory. They must be high in nutrition and low in toxins. And as you can see by this article by the Journal of the Nutraceutical Association, you can see 7 are the highest level of nutrients. So you can see you could almost get a 7 in every single category, from fruit to vegetables to seafood to lean meats. So these foods are highly nutrient dense. Most people just put all of our focus on vegetables. Vegetables are nutrient dense, but you can see lean meat, seafood, and fruits are also very good. Now, if you were to actually add fat-soluble vitamins in here, like vitamin A, you do have some A there, some D, some vitamin E, some K, and some other fat-soluble nutrients like EPA and such, you'd actually find your seafood and your lean meats are higher in nutrition. And if you look at whole grains, you see a whole bunch of 2s, 2s, 3s, 2s, 2s, a couple of 5s, but again, 1's the lowest, so whole grains are really poor source of nutrition, and that's why I do not recommend them. Also, they are high in toxins, and they are also very inflammatory. The gluten protein in most grains is very inflammatory and can create gastrointestinal inflammation. And again, organic, in my opinion, you're going to see studies out there that says organic and conventional are the same thing. In my opinion, that is not true. There is research out there to show either or. This study shows that some nutrients are, an 8-fold difference. If you look at cabbage here, their potassium levels are 3-fold. You look at the calcium levels, they're higher. The iron levels are higher. You can go down the list. There was a study by Stanford just last year, I think 2013, that showed there was an equal amount of nutrition between organic and conventional foods, but they also showed at the end of the study that there's higher amount of pesticide residue on conventional foods, and just that alone is a reason enough to not eat organic food. Forget the argument that organic food has higher amounts of nutrition, which I believe it does personally, but from a perspective of just pesticide residue, there's less pesticides, and these pesticides are already proven to be carcinogenic, slow down thyroid function, increase reproductive issues. They are carcinogens. So just for the fact that organic food has less pesticides is still a great reason to consume organic. This is a sheet called the Bulletproof Diet from Dave Asprey's website, bulletproofexec.com. I use this sheet all the time in my office because most people I find are visual learners. And I kind of just tell people, well, the first 3 macronutrients are your protein, carbs, and fats. So we'd look at the proteins. I tell people to eat from the pasture chicken onward, ideally focusing on the green side here as much as possible. Again, from the fruit, eating from the eggplant to the left onward. Again, green is good, red is bad, and really the sheet is basically geared towards people being able to select foods that are anti-inflammatory, nutrient dense, and low in toxins, and the colors kind of guide you in that direction. So for proteins, pretty much here onwards is a good safe bet. for veggies and fruits, from the eggplant onward is a good recommendation for myself and patients as well. And then over here with the oils and fats, from pastured bacon onward are great starts. And then everything else you can kind of start adding in with nuts and legumes and spices and flavorings and grains. This is my foundation here. Everything else can be added onto the top three. And as you can see here, there's actually a relationship between body fat and pesticides. Organochlorines are one of the most common pesticides that we see out there. As you can see, as pesticide exposure goes up, as the residue goes up, we see fat mass on the right. So fat increases as pesticides go up. So another reason you want to stay away from chemicals. How these chemicals affect weight gain is, well, they reduce your thyroid levels. So thyroid's an important hormone that basically controls chemical reactions in your body. It controls how your body creates energy and heat. We want to make sure you have healthy thyroid levels for overall function. And if we're having elevated pesticide exposure from conventional produce and food and animal products, well, that could easily reduce our thyroid levels, reduce our resting metabolic rate, and it will also reduce our muscle mass. So again, we're getting fatter and having less muscle all at the same time. So this is definitely not a good situation. Not to mention the mycotoxin exposure that you get from mycotoxins such as ochratoxin, zearalenone, etc. These are actually going to cause your metabolism to go down and make you store fat so much more efficiently. So in this video, the take-home messages are: eat foods that are nutrient-dense, low in toxins, and high in micronutrients. I hope this video kind of gave everyone some good ideas of how they should periodize their diet and what foods they should be choosing. For more information, feel free and visit the information tab below the video for my website and contact info. Thanks. Have a great day.